If you imagine a James Bond scenario and he's running around the laptop looking for files, looking for processes, that agent is then going to take that information back to the people that need to know.
It can tell you if there's 500 devices that have never been turned on, actually that's an opportunity to save money.
Who do I go to? What solution should I use? A lot of it is just next generation antivirus.
How secure are the security products, and are we actually keeping up to date to make sure that they're not inadvertently actually opening doors?
Security gives assurance. If you can give assurance to investors, customers, your business grows.
We've invited our guest speakers to discuss a range of topics that impact our understanding and usage of EDR. Due to COVID-19 regulations, we've had to ensure that all participants are socially distant so that we can conduct the roundtable safely.
One of the biggest challenges I've seen is EDR is specific for an organisation and its internal employees. How do you then roll that out to third-party vendors and contractors? So if you've got developers from an external agency, you can't warrant that they put EDR on their machines because they just flat refuse. You can ask and request, but you can't, and the agents are really lightweight and it's easy to deploy them. However, how do you govern that?
The third party piece is a really key factor point. I think the other really is, again, who's going to manage the outputs? So we've touched on this. Do you have the capabilities internally? Can you get the right managed service to manage the outputs? And also, how can you really tune and learn from false positives so that you can eliminate the noise and really target your responses on the most valuable pieces of information that EDR is surfacing for you?
EDR is such a broad topic, and it's about what the evolution of that looks like for me. So, we had, EDR, it was just malware, it was antivirus, and that's evolved. Now it's EDR. How do we stay on top of this, making informed decisions so that we can drive the business forward into the future? Because actually the future is connected, the future is collaboration, and it's all technology.
We're going to go from being breached to horribly breached really quickly. And this is where the business does need to consider something like an EDR solution to be able to start moving at that speed and automating, a basic response. If you see a terabyte of data going off to Finland and you don't have any customers in Finland, then maybe that's a problem that needs to be stomped on right away.
The amount of organizations we speak to that are looking to ingest EDR and SIEM and XDR type technologies, but they don't patch their operating systems, they don't train their staff, and they don't harden their devices. It's kind of like, they're your basics of hygiene, and your two main risk attack vectors are a known vulnerability in most cases, and your users, and we don't address those issues before we start implementing this highly sophisticated machine learning, behavioral analysis, telemetry, correlation, all this stuff to give you an alert, but it's using a known operating system vulnerability to get in.
The point you make is spot on, which is, you can buy an EDR solution. You can go to town with EDR. If you're not getting your basics right, you're just going to be playing whack-a-mole. You're going to be trying to put this fire out and then put this fire out and then put this fire out with an EDR solution, because it's going to tell you about that great stuff that's happening or bad stuff that's happening.
The Target breach in 2015, which is exactly that. The excuse given was every time we patch and update our endpoints, our intrusion detection system goes off. So we know that we'll just ignore that. Well, turns out, largest credit card data breach at the time. We've now managed to exceed that, go team. But we have to look at what the historical narrative has been. So around about 2015, you had all the, I would call it traditional antivirus vendors, busy shoving each other under the bus and testing their solutions against malware. There was this company called Microsoft that had this thing called Windows Defender that nobody really even thought was a credible solution. Fast forward to today, and they've taken Windows Defender and turned it into an EDR solution, essentially. They call it APT, or Advanced Persistent Threat Defender. And so we're in this weird situation now where the businesses have a challenge of justifying going to another vendor when the argument can be made that security technology exists in something they already have.
Historically, we had multiple footprints, like on-premise, cloud, hybrid environments that we had to protect. Defense in depth was have different products. Yeah, whereas and people would be afraid of adopting a pure Microsoft or a pure Amazon, pure Google environment because they were told you have to have defense in depth. That means you have to have one AV solution for this. You have to have a solution for your firewalls. You have to. Well, now it's because we're all cloud adopted. We can actually put our eggs in one basket.
The approach that we've taken is that let's work to one ecosystem and let's build on top of that to cover the gaps.
That was music to my ears, because again, I think a lot of organizations now are really under pressure to kind of converge their tech stacks, simplify, really lean down the operational costs, but also the efficiency, and again, move to native capabilities in those cloud providers wherever possible. And I think having a very clearly articulated USP that says, well, actually, hang on, this will only get you so far. Here's how we can overlay additional control. That narrative is really missing right now from a lot of kind of technology, old legacy technology. I think certainly that's come my way. So I think that would be very welcome.
As a security leader in your organization, if you want to advance the ball, you have to deal with the most dangerous and most miserable people in your organization, your architects. And if you can win them over and get some security sanity into the architecture, then that's the platform that you can build on, and you can put your security controls on top of it. No EDR solution in the world can prevent stupidity of the infrastructure that you've built. And sometimes it's difficult for the security folks to come in and talk to the organization and say, I get that we're in a crisis and we have to open remote desktop to the entire, to the entire staff. But the entire staff are not in these countries. So could we please at least not accept connections from these countries, known hostile countries that we're not doing business, and in some cases we're actually illegal to do business with? Maybe we should prevent them from even getting access to the services that we have exposed.
Navigating that landscape and security will help the business become better, and then you add value, because actually security gives assurance. If you can give assurance to investors, customers, etc., your business grows. That's win-win for everyone.
EDR has now evolved into one of cybersecurity's most valuable assets. With more improvements on the horizon, only time will tell what the next generation of EDR solution will be capable of.